Guys, hi. So as expected with this end of the year, it's the 31st of December is coming. And after a multitude of extensions on the Brexit that was voted for, let's be clear, in June 2016, and we are December 20. So you're talking 4.5 years of no progress towards a deal. Multiple prime ministers in charge, with May, who when she came in essentially kicked around for ages, achieving nothing. And now you have Boris supposedly masquerading as a British rights friendly person with some national interests at heart. And I've said to you, there'll be a last minute pantomime. You will never get a full World Trade Organization no deal exit. The papers are lighting up, and of course they want to bring this kind of news. They've buried it, dragged it out, always last minute. Oh, and then we spent all night in negotiations working for you, working for Britain, when they've done 4.5 years of achieving absolutely nothing. They're going to make it out like a big-ass victory, both sides claiming victory. There will be a SOP deal where Britain will bend quite flexibly on most things, and in the same way they'll never let you have your own money. As I always remind you, they will not allow Britain to get its full national sovereignty back like a separate nation state. We're already looking at a deal where they were supposed to be kept out of the 6 to 12 mile zone from the shore for fishing, and it looks like they've already relented on that. So, you can look at each aspect. It's going to be heralded. The newspapers are going to scream optimism, finally at last in this pandemic, some optimistic news. A Brexit deal is done, just on the basis like everyone's going to supposedly be so glad that it's just going to be over. But the notion that it's great that it's just so over means they've worn you down. This is the game of attrition. They've worn the populace down that nobody even feels like saying Brexit anymore. It's like nobody even wants to say Corona and COVID anymore. And Brexit was the pre-Corona Corona, if that makes any sense. It's just like this crisis-created pantomime. We predicted Brexit would occur and that the people would vote, that they'd do everything to overturn it, slow it down, kick the can, draw it out, wear you down attritionally. All of that on the Market Sniper and some coverage on the Reset Sniper on this matter has regularly been covered, and that at the very final day you'll get this big pantomime of concessions and it will collapse. So do nothing, and then jog through the finishing tape after being carried the whole marathon on the back of the car, and jog the final 10 yards, and you're a hero for completing the job. And it was so difficult, and it's 4.5 years in the making. Meanwhile, it's pantomime that's orchestrated by both sides. You've had Blair advising there. By the way, Blair wants to get involved in ensuring the vaccination rollout on Corona. Anything Blair wants, you should not want by virtue of absolute definition, because there is no more insider cartel sucky-uppy to the Rockefeller Foundation than that man who wanted to actually be El Presidento of the entire EU at one point, until all of Britain projectile vomited all over their lounges, so much that they eventually thought, well, there's maybe a little bit too much baggage and controversy with that one. But it is a bit like appointing Henry Kissinger to do the 9/11 investigation, which was, what America tried as well. So they do like to put their point men on the game. But anyway, much maligned. So Boris is going to be hailed as a hero for bringing a deal, and the negotiation team and Barnier, but they'll both go back to their relative electorates and claim victory. But this was once the whole cartel of control, and this is the Rothschilds banking cartel and the Rockefeller. They are not interested in breakaways and freedom. They want one universal axis of control. People don't get to escape. So this is a lesson. They're teaching a lesson as much to Britain as and the British populace, that we will wear you down, we'll turn it into a 5-year nightmare just about. They're teaching a lesson to Italy, Ireland, and any of the other nation states that are thinking that they aren't getting such a great deal and might want out, the Dutch, anybody else, they're saying, we will wear you down, we will turn our media machine on you, where you are the difficult intransient party. We will call you nationalist, racist, etc. for not taking immigrants. We'll dump a whole bunch of people across the channel like they did in a flood. We're literally being escorted by the French Navy over. All of this is just utter disrespect and utter passing the parcel, the shit parcel, for you to deal with, the cost, and all of those aspects. And it's absolutely the game. And as I say, it's completely predictable. It's completely predictable. Go check previous reset snipers and go check previous market snipers. It will be a pantomime that they will crescendo right until the deadline. And actually, we thought that deadline was the previous deadline until they got another deadline that extended it. We thought that was 2000, the 2000, I think, I can't remember. There was a previous deadline that got this next period of extension. And this just wears people out. So people are so bored, they don't care. Wait till the real detail of whatever this 2,000 pages that have been drafted hits the ground, to see the value of this deal, this amazing deal that's taken 4.5 years to come out the woodwork. Trust me, Britain, it ain't good for you. It ain't nearly good for you. And also look at the handover periods and any costs and blowback on banking failure and exposure to the collapse of the EU or the collapse of EU banks, and what your liabilities. Wait for those clauses to be ironed out. I think the feel-good factor of all of this, oh, that saga is over. Everyone wants the saga to be over, but you don't want it over to be shafted. It's just like a divorce. You all want the divorce to end, but the nature of this attritional legal negotiation is such that it's also a wearing down process, where suddenly you get handed in your divorce, a 5 million in alimony settlement and 3 million in lawyers' bills, and you're 10 millionaires now, 1.5 after you've paid a couple of other things and bought your new house because you've lost the old one, and everything else. Let me just say, it can be over, and you can be sitting with very bad repercussions of that deal being over. And I think that's exactly where the UK is. And the amazing thing about how Reuters and all the other Rothschild banking cartel funded media is it's like, hooray, good for the pound. And you'll see how they'll make the pound go up, and they'll say traders are all upbeat, good for the pound, and they'll just create this surge buying. Buying for what? If you get a bad deal, buying for what? Oh, no deal, bad for the pound, good for the pound, deal, bad for the pound, no deal, blah, 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 and they just create it. So these currencies setups are entirely manipulated to help justify and support the mood. So, they can all just say, yeah, okay, sell some euros, buy some pounds, sell some dollars, let's help the story, create the association. They manage the puppets and then create the association that this is a good thing and that everybody should be happy it's over. And despite taking a lengthy time, the ideal outcome has occurred, and the market and all the traders have embraced that. And look how the pound has surged on it all. Currencies are exactly that. They are volatile. They can move. If you're one of the biggest players, aka trillionaire control structures that can have your primary dealer banks all over the world just say, the theme is buy the pound, okay, you get it, buy the pound, and anybody who's short the pound gets shaken out, and you can surge it. They can all sell it at the top and go back down. Ask me where the pound will be 6 months from now in terms of this deal. So this is day-to-day fluctuations in terms of intrinsic value, and I think all fiats have zero intrinsic value, especially in this expansionary debt equation. But nonetheless, all that put aside, doesn't matter what the pound does on one day. When the details of this deal come out, people will be shocked at how long it took to get to such a damn ordinary, non-beneficial, not particularly special deal that are leaving on a no deal and being able to do WTO. Remember, Britain buys more of Europe's goods than Europe buys of Britain's goods. Completely understand that. They need your money. They need your tourism dollars. They need everything. And the Euroland should not actually be in the pound seat dictating. It's been like this bully boy thing where this Barney is this firm, tough guy, hard negotiator, got all these facts together. It's an absolute scam narrative. You should be refused to be bullied, and the default option should be world trade exit. That's what would have been good for Britain. And then after that it expired, then they would come running to try retain your purchasing of European goods, champagnes, Mercedes-Benz, BMWs. The last thing they would want is for their megacorps to lose that market value and to start supporting other brands that are non-European. It would be very, very tricky indeed. And look also into the UK's contribution. So I've had no look at the deal. This is just a top of the headlines comment, but it's just to say, we said they'll do a last minute push through, and they've had that on the back burner all along, you know, and they'll put a big bunch of theatre about it, about how they were fighting and arm wrestling and 3 in the morning, and you were not leaving until we get there, like this Herculean effort of push and shove. They've known already what they were going to do before this moment. It's all an act. So much that you are facing nowadays is pure deception and acting. You know, this whole COVID narrative, it's all deception and acting. We've got hotels here that are receiving guests, that are restaurants, and guests are in the restaurants eating and are opening and functioning because they need the hotels to stay open, but they will tell the locals in the same town they can't eat at the restaurants because they've shut all the other restaurants down and closed the restaurant businesses. They want to kill the SMEs, but the big employer hotel needs the income and therefore is also allowed to have its restaurants. But what's the COVID narrative from it? Foreign people bringing in viruses are going to be more dangerous than this area where I'm in, where there's largely no crisis, no high numbers, no locals attending the restaurant. And that's because, oh, well, we would have to let the restaurants, the local restaurants open then as well. They would complain that you were serving the locals. So the locals just can't eat out. So this has all got to do with the virus now. Someone coming from afar, mingling in a compact hotel in just 2 or 3 restaurants in a big hotel complex, is less likely to bring viruses and make sick than a very low infection area of locals that have been really strict, attending locally to his own restaurant, which is not in a hotel and is standalone, and there might be a table of 15, 20, 30 seater at tops, and everyone is socially distanced and the staff all have masks. They can't open and serve the locals, and that therefore the hotel's not allowed to serve the locals but serves their guests. It's just the complete logic breakdown of all of this. It's pantomime. It's rules made up as you go. It makes absolutely no sense, and you're going to get a pantomime here with Brexit. And by the time you get the facts, the lies run round the planet 3 times by the time the people who are looking at the detail truly see the quality of this deal. And I'm telling you, it's crap. You should be WTO. It should be free. And they should be fighting to sell their goods and facing tariffs like anyone else if there's no deal in place. Anyway, that's my quick head view, pretty much as predicted. And note how these things come out when everyone's too busy with everything else. It's a good day to bury too much investigation of the details. It's kind of like everybody's buying Christmas presents, everybody's at home. Most of London are in lockdown. You're getting the wine out and waiting for a few family members or friends if you're allowed, if touching people are allowed anymore and you aren't just served by state as a bunch of individuals. That's the whole thing that I mentioned in my previous reset video. It's the breakdown of the family unit and physical associations, and it is the smallest atom of building block of communities, and they want to smash communities. They want to smash that. They want global state to citizen, and that's why these UBI is going to happen, because it's state feeding citizen going direct, and that's why the Fed creating Fed coin and sending tokens on the chain straight to people. All of these things will happen. Anyway, have a great Christmas, all of you guys. So the pound will no doubt trade up because they've been told to buy it. And that's the pantomime, that it's all good for Britain. Look, there's a certain element of uncertainty, but we've had 5 years of uncertainty. We're used to the uncertainty of whatever might happen. But nevertheless, pound is up. A deal. Peace in our time, said Neville Chamberlain, flapping a piece of paper. Okay, well, bye for now, and enjoy your Christmases. And yep, a last-minute Brexit deal, kind of as we predicted. We've got the playbook for these guys, and we know how they roll. Bye for now, and have a great time. Enjoy your final days of 2020.